Everybody, it's a quick storm talk here today. Still no systems of interest on the board as far as anything strong or severe because it's a fairly quiet weather pattern ahead for us. And today is quiet, knocking on the door of 60 with a mainly sunny sky here in town. Temperature's been warming up steadily after a frosty morning for some of you today. We've a nice recovery here, closing down 60 and lower 60s in Munfordville and into Columbia. Here's our headache though for tomorrow and into Friday. This low pressure we've been talking about this past several days is kind of weakening and moving underneath this large area of high pressure we have dominating our weather. So the northern fringe of that is the question. How much of this is going to skirt over Kentucky and give us some cloud cover and maybe a few raindrops? And the latest short-range models are coming in with a better idea on placement and timing. Later on today, not a bad day. Northeast winds battling out the high sun angle, but overall we're getting to the point where we're going to get into the mid-60s this afternoon. For tonight, though, clouds begin to stream in from the south. And then tomorrow, depending on how much cloud cover we got, we have the potential to overachieve. Yeah, 70, 72 is certainly reachable, but clouds will begin to thicken up in very patchy form over Kentucky. I don't see this being an overcast sky in our southern counties, but partly to mostly cloudy at times in our southern counties. And yes, a few light showers cannot be ruled out. Looks to be mainly south of I-64. Those will fade away when the sun goes down. And then that energy will, a little bit of a spiral band, will kind of drift a little more toward the north by the time we get into Friday morning. And that may generate a few raindrops, mainly north of 64 on Friday. But still, at this point, the rain chances will remain quite low because the atmosphere is dry. So there's not a whole lot of moisture for this system to work with, but there is enough that we just can't say it's going to be completely dry. So just kind of a heads up there that raindrops are possible in the next couple of days. Then as we get into this weekend, this is what we call an omega block. Here's the United States. It's hard to see, I know. This is the GFS upper level chart, and you can see the jet here. It bends down across the southwest, then ridges right over the Great Lakes, then drops back down again over the eastern seaboard. Let me do that again with a different color pen so you can see. I know it's kind of hard to see what I just drew there. Here it is again. To the north, drops down, goes back up, goes back down, and then back up. And this is the Greek symbol for omega right across our neck of the woods. So we got low pressure off the eastern seaboard. We've got a low pressure stuck here in the Rockies and a ridge right over us. Looks like a pair of eyeballs staring at you, doesn't it? But this is a good spot for us to be. I mean, if you want to be anywhere in an omega block, this is where you want to be at. And this means nice dry weather and sunny and warm. Nothing too drastic. You can't get a rapid warm-up out of this. It's tough to do because you're not getting a strong south flow. So until the ridge breaks down enough to allow this low to get ejected out, that's when we see the really ramp up in warming that could take place. And that likely would be either Sunday or Monday. Otherwise, generally slow improvement in temperatures each and every day, which is fine because it's going to be comfortable outside. We are going to be watching this piece, though, across Canada. It is going to try to weaken and beat down the northern part of that ridge over the Great Lakes and northeast. As it does so, it is going to grab this low in the Atlantic and pull it in. Then the two together will work to be more of a larger low pressure over the northeast, and that should create a slight trough over the eastern part, northeast part of the country. And that should cool us down slightly for next week, while the ridge, again, pumps up back here to the west. So that's something we'll be tracking. Here is the latest on that. Well, I already showed you the southern low. Let me get past this. Sorry. Extra graphic day. Okay, here we go. Here is the GFS, and you can see how it begins to drop down that low, and it begins to pull the one off to our east, northward, into Nova Scotia. And that will be the groundwork there for that low to take over. But it is enough of a cooling dip here to at least cool us down slightly as we get into about Tuesday or Wednesday. Here's the Canadian. Very similar setup to the idea. A little more aggressive probably in the westward part of that dipping down. There could be a few showers with that, by the way. It's going to be what we call more of a backdoor cold front kind of a deal, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. Then after that, we head toward Thunder over Louisville. And this is where the ridge will build back in. After that little dip, by the way, Monday and Tuesday, the ridge pumps back in. But how long is it going to stick around? This is where the models really diverge. The GFS is pumping in a large ridge and taking any low pressures that try to develop and pull them into central Canada, allowing us to stay in a very warm south flow, but a moist one, which means can't rule out a few showers, even isolate a thunderstorm. But this would mean temperatures around 80 degrees for thunder. The Euro, as of last check, now the new one's coming in now, so I don't have this for the blog. The Euro is more progressive with that system, moves it in, and you get another dip in the jet stream. In fact, this is the day before thunder. This is the Friday. It's showing rain in the area, so this would actually be thunder's weather just to the west of that. That would be a relatively comfortable day, drier air, and maybe a shower in the morning, depending on how quickly this bad boy moves out of the way. But two different scenarios still showing up in the longer range models. One warm and humid in a sense, isolated thunder, and then the other one showing more of a drying out pattern throughout the day on thunder, maybe muddy at the Great Lawn, not the best of news there, and a cooler wind. So we'll see how it plays out. At this point, we're going to go with more of a combination of the two. I think it's going to be around the lower 70s with the northwest wind, so a cooler flow, and then we'll keep the small rain chance in 60s. Notice our confident meter, though, is still at a 2 on a scale of 1 to 10. We're going to keep it on low confidence because of this huge disagreement. And anytime you get a blocking pattern, I said this yesterday, you get a blocking pattern, the timing of these systems and how they progress and longer term, the models just never can grasp that until we get closer in time. So all we can do is trend it. But at this point, the good news is there is nothing that I can find that indicates we were going to see a heavy rain event for thunder over Louisville or cold weather and snow. That, I can tell you that much, all right? But there is still potential for us to see the GFS idea come to reality. If so, we're talking about a really warm day. And the downside is if the Euro is right on that troughiness over our area, but slower with that system, then yeah, there could be some rain still left over, at least a good chunk of the daylight hours on Saturday. So too early to make a call on this. So don't change your plans, don't alter them yet. Just stay close to the forecast, and we'll keep you updated every day here on the blog and on Wave 3 News. All right, that's it for right now, guys. Enjoy the nice weather the next few days, and hopefully you don't get any raindrops in the next 48 hours from that system to the south to mess up the car you just watched. If so, don't blame me.